Hello, and welcome aboard to this episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on each volume. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is the perfect place to follow along, whether you're new to the series or just want to revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week, we will be covering the first part of Volume 66, The Road Toward the Sun, which covers chapters 647 through 651. My name is Joel, and I'll be your host. Joining me today, we have Evan.
Hello.
And we have Cody.
I just noticed this picture of Luffy in the chef hat picking his nose. It's pretty great.
It's pretty good.
Where you seeing this?
Just inside the front
First
cover, right?
page.
Oh, I was looking at the outside
The
cover.
author. Oh,
here we
yeah,
go.
the author.
Oh, yeah. The little author blurb.
2012. That's insane to me.
Yeah, right.
I saw a post the other day saying that Marineford was airing in 2010, the anime.
Wow.
Crazy. But yeah,
Unreal.
I digress.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't because you weren't on last week. I think this is where I mentioned it to Evan. I'm pretty sure this is where I caught up and became a weekly reader.
Let's go!
Yeah, this was a stage where I was reading week to week.
Yo, well, okay. Did you talk about the transition at all? Like from archival to weekly? Did you get into that at all?
Not really. I also don't remember. I think more of like the upcoming, like, not this upcoming arc, but the arc following is where I have more memories specifically of like the week to week experience.
Okay.
But yeah, but this is where I started to experience the series in that way. So yeah, this was fun for me.
Can
In
I ask
college.
where you were at? Like, it was college?
I was in college, yeah.
Okay, word. Love that. I'm like, I want to ask more, but I know we also have like a volume to discuss.
And discuss we will. There's some pretty heavy stuff in this volume that I'm excited to dive into. But before we do get to that, I will give a quick recap from the beginning of the volume. Just read that summary here. The Strats finally reach Fishman Island, but are quickly ambushed by the new Fishman pirates. The hatred of humans was caused by a long and terrible history of oppression. Now Hoodie Jones has sworn to destroy the Rigu Kingdom, become the new king of Fishman Island, and eliminate anyone who wants hope for peace with humankind. Princess Shirahoshi and her brothers want peace. They stand up to Hoodie with Luffy's help. But now the giant ark, Noah, is bearing down on Fishman Island. Luffy's crew defeats the Fishman officers, but Noah's downward plunge continues. The island is in great danger. Yeah, so that's where we had left it. We had the explosive, ending moves from like every Straw Hat, and that little sequence back to back. All right, so let's dive right into the new stuff. Let's get into Decks of the World, Volume 30, Skypiea, Rocky and Konus's Pumpkin Cafe specialty, pumpkin noodles. Rocky and Konus serve pumpkin noodles at the cafe.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
so
a
once
cool
again,
spot.
okay.
I was going to say strong pumpkin theme. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that it's Captain McKinley and Pagaya too.
Mm-hmm.
At the
Yeah,
table. That's really
definitely.
nice.
Yeah, having lunch with the police officer that tried to arrest you before. I'm glad they got
One
past
Piece is
that.
a fantasy series, it's pretty great. Anyway.
Yeah, it is nice to see more cases of these the Skypeans and the Shandians, working together and living in harmony. So it's nice to see that they were able to find like that peace instead of like fighting over the land together. Now it's like we're just sharing the land. We'll all have a good time.
Yeah, especially like in this specific part of the story too.
Yeah, we've seen how things could be not quite as nice. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pumpkin is a nice touch to go back to Gonfor and his affinity for the pumpkin. So
Yeah.
they even have like old pumpkin dishes and stuff.
Little pumpkin teacups. Yeah.
All right, but let's get into the chapter. Chapter 647, Stop Noah. As the dust clears, the citizens of Fishman Island are impressed with the power of the Straw Hat crew. However, they can't breathe easy yet, as Noah is still falling towards the island. Above, Luffy assaults the Noah in a desperate attempt to destroy the Ark before it crashes. He hears a voice telling him to stop. Then Shiroshi intervenes and urges Luffy to stop as well. To their surprise, the Noah is being held in place by Neptunians. As he realizes the people are now safe, his blood loss from his fight with Hody becomes too much, and he loses his grip on the Ark and starts to fall. The Neptunians converse with Shirahoshi, acknowledging that the princess called them just in time before Luffy could destroy Noah. The citizens below witness the Ark being held up by the Neptunians and rejoice that they have been saved.
Wowee.
All right, where do you guys want to start here?
It's so great just seeing the Straw Hats. I miss these interactions so much, and I think just try and like quickly make up for last volume. I think it was also so cool. It was so cool seeing them all fight at once. It was, and sometimes it was also a little jarring because I was like, oh, I feel like you're not. It's like I feel like it's all like caught in the middle, and like I wish there was more of this, and I wish there was more of that. It's the way the Straw Hats have been presented as a group in Fishman Island feels distinct from how they were pre-time skip. But it's moments like this panel right here as Sanji's touching down saying, shut up. No, I wish I dropped him on your head, Zoro. Shut the fuck up. And just seeing them all interacting like a family. It's like, yeah, you know, even if like they're portrayed differently, like, this is still there. This is still their core. And just anytime I get that is so nice.
Yeah. How about you, Evan?
Well, we get to see Shirahoshi's power unleashed here, which is quite exciting. We knew it might be coming, and it comes just in the nick of time to save the Noah from falling. I also love the depiction of the Neptunians here, like absolutely massive, like almost making the Noah look small. They're so big. Yeah, and I've always loved the caricatures of the Neptunians, but it's cool getting to see them highlighted here.
Yeah, and some of them are like really kind of creepy looking. This one at the top though looks to be like the one on the top and kind of on the left too. I feel like those are the two we've seen probably like before.
Yep.
Those are, I think, kind of like iconic, really. They're like even at the beginning of like the first opening of the One Piece series. So these are the two Neptunians that we've seen probably more so than some of the others. But yeah, some of these other ones are a little creepy looking as well.
Yeah,
but it kind of adds like a little mystique to them.
See, I was gonna say they look like goofy as shit.
Yeah,
and they can be
that too.
Yeah, big goofy.
And they're both, which is great. It's I have a story about Oda's design, but like I'll get into that. But that's what's so nice about it. It's both, you know,
which is pretty on theme for Oda.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, really cool seeing them make an appearance, and also cool seeing them like paying respect to Luffy, kind of respecting Luffy's strength here as well, which is high praise.
Mighty little man.
Yeah, strong little guy.
It is good that Luffy didn't have to destroy the Ark after all. Like, he does some damage to it, but it's still actually together. So it's kind of like everything kind of worked out here. The island saved, Hody's been defeated, the Ark is safe. But yeah, then we have this moment where it looks like everything kind of is catching up to Luffy. So he's kind of going all out. And I know we had talked like last episode that we felt Hody's fight with Luffy felt a little underwhelming in a way. Cody, I'm not sure how you feel about the fights overall. But like Evan and I were kind of like in agreement that we felt the Fisherman pirates weren't really as much of a threat as they probably should have been. But that might have been like intentional on Oda's part to kind of show like how strong those threats are now.
100%. I will say so full transparency to anyone listening. I was unprepared. I goofed. I was gone last week because I was on a film set. This Monday, Tuesday, I was burnt out. Yesterday, like stuff happened and I wasn't thinking. So I crammed second half of 65 and first half of 66 tonight. So if that gives y'all any understanding. I was going through it And partially because I went through so fast, I was like, man, Luffy didn't even fight Hody. Wow. Forgetting that Red Hawk was the fight.
That was pretty much the fight. Yeah.
That was pretty
Yeah.
much the fight. But to me, and Joel, like, cut me off. But like, if that feels very thematically appropriate for Fishman Island, because Hody is a villain who apparently has, quote, no substance as it's translated, but if he's not a person, it's not a villain that you have to defeat. The villain of the arc is the effect of the past on the fear and therefore hatred people have in the present. And so Luffy then trying to defeat the Noah is symbolic of that. But even then, that not may entirely be correct, given the fact that it's like, no, don't destroy the ship. That's not necessarily the answer either. And to me, also the fact that Luffy's final attack at Hody was a fiery punch underwater is the fact that, the idea of defeating racism and defeating hatred, any of that seems so fantastical. And again, like, look at me, I don't have the fucking answer, but like, there's just something beautiful about the way Oda represented it.
If one
was
could
quick.
punch racism.
It's a fantasy story,
Yeah.
But sometimes, hey man,
That's why we have to live vicariously through Luffy sometimes.
yeah, and thanks, Oda. I love him for that. That's where I'm at with the Luffy Hody fight and the Noah and all that.
But yeah, we are seeing here that maybe Hody did more than we had initially thought, because it seemed like, Luffy kind of beat him pretty easily. Now we're seeing Luffy's actually kind of in a bad shape here. He was kind of pushing through because he didn't want anybody to die, and he's like, "Oh, we're all safe now. Okay, now I can let myself go." And
Yeah.
thankfully, like, Shirahoshi's here to help him, because he was about to fall into the water, and that would have been death for him. But yeah, now he's experiencing blood loss, which is also potential death.
Yep. Luffy has been susceptible to sharp, pointy objects.
Yeah, one of his weaknesses.
One of his weaknesses. And pushing himself too hard and not realizing how injured he really is very Luffy.
So yeah, we did kind of touch upon this a little bit. So one thing that's really interesting is the conversation between Shirahoshi and the Neptunians, and the Neptunians themselves. So that they're talking amongst themselves. We can see their dialogue. So this is the first time that we've actually seen that they do have a consciousness, and they can communicate, and like they have thoughts that we can also recognize as, like, the reader, and in the story they can also recognize as people. So they can converse with Shirahoshi. So I'm not sure if it's maybe a strict dialogue, or if it's more like feeling, but it seems like they have a voice that Shirahoshi can hear. But it's not just Shirahoshi that seems to hear this, because Luffy reacts when they say to stop. So I think it's interesting to see here is Luffy is also seemingly able to recognize the voices coming from the Neptunians.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't pick that up on first read because in like the heat of the moment, when you see the stop speech bubble, there's no clear owner of it. And I think it's not this chapter, but maybe the next chapter where that's elaborated on a little bit more. And I was like, and I had to go back. I went back to this panel and was like, oh, right. That is when you heard the Neptunians saying stop.
Yeah, because we see Luffy here.
Has some implications.
Yeah, because he has like little question marks here. And then he looks around and he's like, who was that? Like, who's talking to me? Like, whose voice was that? But he's like, all right, well, I gotta keep going. Even though it said stop, I'm not gonna listen to him.
At first read, I definitely thought that was just Shirahoshi, because it kind of looks like, is that him seeing Shirahoshi through the punches when he says, who was that? I think that's how I read it.
I think that might be Luffy.
I think that's Luffy. Given the direction of the punches and that he's in the middle, I think that's Luffy.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Hearing the stop.
I see it now.
Yeah, because then Shirahoshi in the bottom of the page starts swimming towards his punches. and we see that she's swimming through the punches,
Yep.
and then she gets right in front of Luffy.
Which is huge for Shirahoshi.
Yeah,
Yeah. Putting herself.
she has
in
that
the-
moment of courage.
Yeah.
And she's able to not get hit by all those punches.
She's just like that.
Potential observation
Yeah.
hockey like her mom.
She's the fastest mermaid, right?
You're cooking, you're cooking, you're cooking, you're cooking.
Yeah, and she is also a really fast swimmer as well as a mermaid. Yeah, so then Shiroshi apparently is Aquaman. She can literally talk to
Yeah.
fish here. I like that.
You even
the
kind of get the
Neptunians-
cool. Oh,
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say on the Aquaman thing, I feel like we also kind of get that like sonar wave drawn in when Shirahoshi's communicating with the Neptunians.
Yeah,
Like, you can kind of see like the sound waves reverberating from their mouth.
right.
It also
Mhm.
feels kind of Aquaman.
Yeah, that's what
Mhm.
gave me the Aquaman vibes there.
Yeah.
Didn't even clock it. Nice.
I do like that they speak to her as well, though, and they thank her, and she's like, "Well, I didn't do anything. I just cried." And they said, "No, you guided us here. We were guided by the Straw Hat Boys' powerful desire, and you prayed, and like her thoughts reached them. So she kind of called out to them subconsciously, not realizing it, and they arrived here in time to prevent the Noah from being destroyed." Okay, you guys got anything else for this one?
There was something that perked my attention. We get some inner dialogue from King Neptune here, and he says, as he's seeing like Noah getting destroyed, he says, "We must bid farewell to the ship," and he says, "Forgive me, Joy Boy. We'll be unable to fulfill the promise." So we've heard about the promise before, but this is his first time putting a name to that promise. And Joy Boy is a name we've heard before, I believe, with Robin reading the poneglyph.
Yeah.
So that perked my interest. We're getting a little bit more on the Noah history, or a hint.
Yeah, that is a good point, because this shows that the Fishman Island, at least the royals, are aware of Joy Boy and this promise.
Mhm.
So whatever Robin read, it seems that they're familiar with it as well.
Something's going on.
All right. Well, how about we move on to the next part of the cover story?
I want to say one more thing really quick, and we can cut
Oh.
this out if it's too much of a tangent.
Go for
But
it.
going back to the conversation you guys were having before about like physically punching racism, I think that like, is that not kind of the birth of comics in the first place? Like, didn't comics kind of come about like in World War, like during the World War, being like symbolism of like superheroes beating up the bad guys, and like a way to kind of cope with war and kind of like put a face to it, kind of, and like
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of Superman's early appearances were like him punch. Oh, like it was like a whole age of like
punching out
American heroes.
Nazis, right?
Yeah, punching fascism specifically.
Yeah.
Like that's I think that's what's so great about like One Piece. One Piece and a lot of American comics is that a lot of them there's so much political commentary in them.
Yeah.
Have you read Super
Right.
Gods by Grant Morrison?
I haven't.
Mm-mm.
If I have it with me, I'm bringing it next game night because it's
Sweet.
exactly about that. You will love it, both of you.
Is it under DC?
No, it's Grant Morrison, who's like one of DC's most prolific writers, and had a whole Superman run during the New 52 that was basically bringing back to, what if Superman wasn't punching aliens? What if he was punching greedy billionaires instead? And aliens
Mhm.
that represented that. But it's basically it's one part autobiography of him as a comic writer and history of superhero comics in America.
That's cool.
Melded together. It's fire.
But was it published by DC?
It wasn't through DC specifically.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say if it was, I have access to it on the DC Infinite app.
Oh,
But if not, then
no.
I don't.
This is like a prose like yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's good shit.
Neat.
I didn't mean to tangify your tangent, Evan.
No, that's all I wanted to say. I just like, we were laughing about it, but I feel like there is a lot of reality to that as well. Because like I said, I feel like that's kind of where superheroes were born from, is like trying to get that point across, to the public.
Yeah,
But
so
Luffy's
there
not a
was
hero.
like early Captain America, before he was even published under Marvel. like there's like the famous like cover where he's punching Hitler.
Right.
He was like a soldier in the war. There's also there was a Superman early, like it was like a radio story that they did, but they adapted it more recently into a comic where Superman smashes the Klan.
Hell yeah.
So it's not a very long story. I think it's only like a few issues, but it's really well done. And it's basically that, like, he goes around and as part of like the story, he helps out like a Chinese family that's living in America. They immigrated to America, Chinese American family, and he helps fight against members of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, like you said, like, it is like a case where they're able to come in and literally beat up these racists. So I feel like that's also like a story that's really worth reading. If anybody listening hasn't read it so far, I recommend it. It's not a long story. I think it's only a few issues. It might be like 3 issues or something. But yeah, it's a nice little read.
2 recommendations.
There you go.
Don't say we didn't give you anything.
All right. So how about we move on to the next part of the cover story? Decks of the World, Volume 31, Skypiea, Kami's Guardians. Wiper and the Shandian warriors have become the guardians for Gonfor.
Hell yeah.
Wait.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
They're dripped out.
Yeah, they are dripped out.
Wiper letting the hair down? Okay. Father? Okay.
Yeah, it's nice to see like a different role for them, and they have a different relationship with Gonfor now, as opposed to previously, and when Anel Randaru was acting as the Kami.
Mhm.
It's like we can get behind this guy. He's cool after all.
Yeah. Every now and then there's that one cool old white guy. Every now and then we're like, yeah, you'll do.
Yeah. Does happen very often, but every once in a while.
I mean, I'd be a bodyguard for like the Bernie Sanders of Skypiea. I'd be down for that. Like a pumpkin in every tea shop. That's all I got. It's been a minute.
Okay. Moving on to chapter 648, The Road Toward the Sun. The Neptunians explain to Shirahoshi that she is their queen, and they've been waiting centuries for her to be born. The Neptunians begin to carry the Noah to the forest under the sea, telling Shirahoshi to go help Luffy as he won't be able to survive underwater. As they travel, they wonder if Luffy was able to hear them, just like that one human who was able to, Roger. As they leave the Noah, they hope the ark can be fixed and before the promised time arrives. Back at the palace, the Minister of the Left discovered the kidnapped mermaids and noticed the treasure had been taken, but this clears the Straw Hat's name. The fishmen and human slaves who are working for Hody are confronted by Jinbei, who tells them that their fate will be decided by the king. Shirahoshi arrives with Luffy at Concord Plaza, begging for someone to help him as he is losing too much blood. Chopper calls out to see if anyone has blood type F, but the fishmen are afraid to speak up as it's still against the law to donate blood to humans. Jinbei volunteers his own without fear of consequences, as he is already an outlaw pirate. As Luffy comes to, the people cheer. Luffy smiles, and he tells Jinbei he has to join his crew.
You better join.
Jinbei's a homie, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I love Jinbei.
He's a real one.
There's a panel I think I photographed and tried to send to Joel. What was it? Oh no, it's literally this chapter. Jimmy says pirates don't follow the law.
Yes,
I was like,
wrote
yeah!
that down. That was such a good line.
Yeah.
So, oh my god, I love him.
He's like, I don't care about the law. I'm going to break it right in front of the king. What's he going to do about it?
Yep.
What are you going to do? Arrest me?
Yeah, this is a pretty like poetic full circle moment for this story, and I do love that it's Jinbei stepping in here.
Yeah,
he's just such an inspirational guy.
Yeah,
he God,
like we talk about breaking the cycle. Like the whole arc's theme's been about like breaking the cycle of hatred and like taking steps in order to change these beliefs, and this is Jinbei like actively being like, this is what I believe in, this is the right thing to do. These laws were made out of hatred and shouldn't be followed.
Yeah, and it's especially important for Jinbei as a character because we've seen from the flashback like his journey with
Mm.
this concept, this experience, and how he's changed over time. So he witnessed Fisher Tiger die because he was refusing to take human blood. So now we kind of like the opposite situation here, where he's like, all right, well, I can kind of do what we couldn't do at Fisher Tiger's death. We can save Luffy, and I can give my blood to a human. Like I'm okay with that. And Luffy, of course, has no problem either. They didn't ask him beforehand, but we see like Luffy's happy, and he actually wants Jinbei to join his crew because of the situation. Like after everything they've been through together, like Luffy's like, yeah, like come on, you gotta be part of my crew.
Blood brothers.
He's like, oh, you gotta be part of my crew. You have the same blood type as me. I'm gonna need a lot of blood.
Yeah, right. What happens if what do we do if this happens again?
But it's also like the fact that he is a pirate, he is in a unique position among fishmen, where he is able to break this boundary.
Mm.
He's taking the opportunity.
Yeah, but part of me also wonders how much of it is really the law and how much is it still kind of their biases. Because I wonder if
But, like-
it wasn't the law, where if other people would have stepped up, because like they have the internal like dialogue with themselves, where like, oh, I have blood type F, but I don't know if I can like give my blood to the human. Like they kind of have like a hesitancy to it. So I wonder like how much of that is also them kind of making an excuse and how much of it is being um like I'm not used to this concept. This seems like a big decision to do. I want to step up and be the one to offer that. But Jinbei, like you said, he's kind of in that unique situation where he doesn't mind the law's not a factor to him. He's already breaking laws.
I think that's what Oda's setting up, though. I think he said with the fact that the bias is in the law, there really isn't that much difference there. And so I think that's what this line accomplishes on both fronts.
Yeah,
I think we
think
we should question the laws. You should question the laws.
Yeah,
I think is what he's saying here, because it's like these people were like, oh, this doesn't feel right, and I don't think they're saying that because they're intrinsically opposed to the idea of the law. It's just been a law their whole life, like ever since this incident. That's just how it is. That's just the way it's been, And I think that kind of just plays into the theme of this like perpetual hatred and these generational beliefs that people are just it just becomes the paradigm. Like that just becomes the norm. That's just how it is. We hate these people because we've always hated these people. We believe in these laws because there's always been there, and it's like, Oda's taking the chance to be like, no, we need to like question these laws. And Sharky did it really well in the last volume, saying that with the youth of the youth of Fishman Island, saying, see with your own eyes, like you make your own decisions. Don't, what do you see? Do you see these people causing harm and being bad people, or do you see heroes saving Fishman Island? And I think Oda's done an incredible job of having that really strong theme throughout this entire arc, and also having it like evolve and have this full circle moment here in this chapter where it kind of all comes back around, and Fishman Island finds himself in the same situation they were in when Fisher Tiger was bleeding out. Their hero is bleeding out. And they kind of have a chance to rewrite history here, or at least like change it for the future. And we see a different outcome than we did last time with Fisher Tiger.
Yeah, I guess I'm questioning if the law didn't exist, like how many people would still be stepping up to donate their blood. So I don't know if like Jinbei is Jinbei is like the pioneer in this case, regardless of that,
right?
Whatever the circumstance is. So either way you approach it, Jinbei is kind of stepping up and saying, "Hey, it's okay to do this. Like, let's rethink the law." I mean, the law isn't a factor for me, but I think by him stepping up and being the one to do this, he tells everybody else, "Hey, how about we reconsider this law and like see how silly it is. Like, I'm going to do it in front of you guys and show like this is like no big deal. Like, this is how we should just be treating other people like everybody's fine after this. Like there's nothing different about our blood. But I don't know.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting conversation to have about this, and yeah, I really like the way this plays out. I think Oda does a good job of setting up all those details and having everything kind of feel like it's paying off and coming together here. And like they make the reference here, like in the dialogue and the text boxes actually, where they say like the blood is like the road towards the sun. So it's also like a metaphorical road. So it's this symbol of like the blood being transferred is connecting the fishmen to the humans, and it's bring them closer together and bring Fishman Island as a whole closer to the surface. So it doesn't. It's like, hey, how about we get rid of this barrier that's separating us, this invisible barrier that we don't need to have between us, and let's all get closer to being one together under the same sun.
A brighter future.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great metaphor.
Fuck, man. So good. Even Fukaboshi, this is the nothing from which we start anew, mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to. It's hard.
Is this the nothing that was foretold by Sharky in her? Was it more metaphorical than?
Because she saw a vision of Luffy with like things. Yeah. And that wasn't here because Luffy wasn't Shirahoshi had to bring Luffy back in. Right? So it cannot be that.
Mm-hmm.
But I love where your head is at.
Just to kind of shift a little bit here as well. I did think it was hilarious how Chopper couldn't move and he was still trying to treat Luffy. And like Robin had to like move him around and like squeeze his cheeks. And like, how are you gonna help Luffy? You can't even help yourself right now. There he is.
Go to the left. You got it, buddy.
Chopper's like, you're gonna have to roll me over. Look
someone like that.
That was just really funny.
Professional.
Yeah, and then touching back on what we talked about last chapter. So the voices of the Neptunians. So we do have that conversation here where they recognize, hey, I think that guy could hear us. Like, that's weird. Humans don't do that normally, but there was that one guy, so maybe it's possible. So this is something that Luffy shares with Roger.
Very interesting. They seem to share the will of D, which has many traits, and this might be another trait of the will of D, potentially. Or there's definitely some sort of connection there.
Yes, not a very common thing that happens here. Hey, you guys got anything else for this one?
Oh, Roger. Or did I miss that?
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I checked out for a second. Fuck. Sorry. Wow.
All good? Okay, so moving on?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, moving on. Decks of the World, Volume 32, Skypiea. God is pleased with this year's crop. Gotten for the Shandian Chief and Pierre enjoy some pumpkin juice.
I love his own
pumpkin
t-shirt.
Juice.
Just vibing. The gods are just hanging.
Having a good time. And does the shirt say Kami?
It might.
I think it matches the
palace.
Yeah, the palace.
Wait, I may be completely. This may be me having forgotten the way Skypiea ended, but like, is it God singular or God plural?
I think it's singular. Yeah, I think it's just gone for.
Okay.
But I think they're kind of like
a duo. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, I think they're like kind of working together. But I think technically, I think they're like gone for. We want you back. Like, hey, you're a pretty cool god before. So how about you do it again?
Second term. Why not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the chief is still like the leader of the Shandians in particular, but I mean, it seems like they're kind of like merging anyway. So I don't. I feel like it's probably not even that important to them. But
Yeah, true.
yeah, I think they kind of like I'll probably need your help with this, like and your wisdom. So yeah, I don't remember the exact specifics. I could be wrong.
No, you make a really good point.
But yeah, I don't really have any other comments on it though.
Oh.
Same.
Okay. Getting into the chapter. Chapter 649, The Dance of Breams and Plaices. Neptune lets the human slaves go free and declares that the former New Fishman pirates will be moved to Fishman Island, performing penal service under the supervision of the army. He also announces the Fishman district is now closed. The Straw Hats slipped out during the commotion in order to not be praised. Jinbei does not immediately accept Luffy's offer to join the Straw Hats, explaining he has some obligations to attend to first, but would like Luffy to postpone his invitation for a later time. Hiroshi wants to properly thank the Straw Hats and invites him to a feast. The New Fishman pirate officers are put into a prison in the palace, along with Vanderdecken. While most of the Straw Hats and the members of the palace enjoy the feast and the concert, Robin pulls King Neptune aside to ask him some questions. She reveals she is a survivor of O'Hara and read the poneglyphs. She asks Neptune who Joy Boy was apologizing to. Neptune tells her that Joy Boy was a person who lived during the 100-year void and was apologizing to the mermaid princess at the time, that he could not uphold his promise. The details aren't clear, but the legend says someone will arrive someday in Joy Boy's place to fulfill this promise. They believe Noah is part of this promise, as they have upheld their end throughout the years by protecting the Ark. She noticed that it seems that the Noah was intended to be carried by Neptunians, connecting the dots that in order to control them, they needed the power of the ancient weapon that was said to be down here based on the Skypiea poneglyph she read. In other words, the mermaid princess with this power is also known as Poseidon.
Wow. Some answers.
How you feel about those answers, Evan? What's this lore drop?
This is some pretty cool enlightenment here, and I love the last panel of this chapter so much with like the mermaid kind of background behind Robin. But this was an enlightening moment for me because I feel like I've always pictured the ancient weapons as like weapons of mass destruction or just like really powerful tools built by man. But here it's cool that Poseidon is actually this inherited ability that's kind of like passed down through generations. So it's like not at all what I was expecting, but I think it's a really cool eye-opening, and it makes me very curious about the other ancient weapons as well, because this is our first ancient weapon reveal, correct?
In a sense, it's our most.
We've heard other names. But
it's our most in-depth one, but we know Pluton's a ship.
Oh right, we do know Pluton's a ship made from the
Yeah.
wood, this special wood, right?
Well, it was the blueprints that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Or
blueprints. Okay,
Frankie had.
right.
Yeah, because we haven't seen what any of the ancient weapons actually looked like, and this is kind of
Right.
changes like the concept as a whole. It's like, oh, this is a person. It's like, who would think to look for a weapon in a person? So
Right.
that's interesting as well.
Yeah.
Shirahoshi's an ancient weapon. Pretty
Yeah,
wild.
so I did go back and double check what Robin had found out during Skypiea, because I know when we mentioned the poneglyph before, I know we had said the thing about the Roger part that was added, but there was a poneglyph she did read in Skypiea, which was the location of Poseidon. So she actually did know that Poseidon from Skypiea, like she said it then, that she knew the location of Poseidon, but she didn't say where it was. So they didn't say like, oh, it was in Fishman Island or anything like that. So she did learn that back then, and now she's connecting the dots here and realizing, oh, so this must be the ancient weapon. And then King Neptune is having this conversation with her to go over those details here.
Yeah, pretty thrilling stuff. Robin's storyline is the best.
Yeah, and then with the poneglyphs, I'm like, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Lore.
Yeah. Robin getting more lore knowledge is like my favorite through point.
It's such a cool way to see someone getting closer to their dream.
And just unlocking this world too, like unlocking the secrets of the world is so cool.
Yeah. It's something very unique to her character.
Yeah.
And I love how like below the surface it is, because it's not really, Luffy's kind of out of the like the rest of the crew is kind of out of this loop, right? It's kind of like Robin's on her own personal quest to seek out this knowledge and figure out what happened during the void. Yeah, I'm here for it.
I think it's also so like interesting thing about like what types of dreams the crew has, right? Luffy is like title and find something. Zoro is title through fighting something. Sanji is just find something. Nami's do something related to find something. Usopp is be something. Chopper is make something. It's just so cool, like how diverse they are, but like how you can like how they fit together so well.
Yep.
Yeah.
How they all work congruently, like working in a singular direction together.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that Robin is like on this like journey without divulging this information to other people. So she's not like, oh, let me tell you guys what I learned. Like she's doing this quiet, like on her own.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm sure she trusts like the crew, like without question. But it's like also maybe the less that people know about these things, the better. Also, Luffy might accidentally spell things or not understand it anyway, so it probably doesn't matter. He's probably not even interested. But I think it's just very interesting that it's like a very private thing for Robin, and she's specifically like pulled Neptune aside to have this conversation, so that way like nobody else is like being part of this. So I think she does realize like how destructive this information could be, so she doesn't want too many people to know about it. So yeah, I just think Robin's personality makes sense for this. I just think it's an interesting element as well that she's choosing to do this by herself, because I think she's the only one that's really invested in this as well, but she's not choosing to really divulge on it. It's just something for her.
But it's for her. It's sacred to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also a level of trust here as well that she explained that she's a survivor of O'Hara. She tells us to King Neptune. So she's kind of like also being a little vulnerable here as well. If you're going to tell me this vulnerable information, I'm going to tell you something as well that could like also put. I mean, she's already like in harm's way. Like the government knows why they're after her, or at least like why they put the bounty on her at the top level, but it's not common knowledge for everybody else. So yeah, the fact that she reveals this, I think, is also kind of telling that she's coming from a place of like I'm trusting you with this sensitive information. But yeah, what do you guys think of the conversation with Jinbei not immediately accepting Luffy's offer?
Damn. I was really
sorry.
I was so hopeful that Jinbei would join the Straw Hats, at least for like a temporary amount of time. But like I was very excited by that prospect, so I am a little bummed that he declined. But I do understand his reasoning behind not joining for the time being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
as
like,
we said,
the
the situation
kind of pull the rug from under you, be like, oh, sorry, just kidding.
He is the responsible one.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about how delicate the situation in Fishman Island has been, and it's still pretty delicate. And we've also pointed out how Jinbei is the perfect voice of reason, having he's had a lot of perspective on the situation that Fishman Island find themselves in. And so I feel like he is the perfect voice of reason to stay behind and help guide Fishman Island back to full strength.
Yeah. So like he's interested. It's like I really would like to join you guys, but yeah, sorry, I just gotta take care of these things. Maybe later. But he's like, eh. But yeah, he at least expressed interest. So it's not like no. So yeah, it's at least nice that like I appreciate the offer.
Respectfully decline.
And we also get Zoro explaining that he feels the same way about Luffy, where he says like heroes need to share their booze, but he's like, I don't want to share the booze. So Luffy almost had like, the same speech, but it was like
as a wise man once said.
Damn. Oh.
I also love how Luffy's like, we gotta go, and they're like, we'll throw you a feast, and he was like, oh, feast? Wait, never mind, we're staying.
You son of a bitch! I'm in.
Yeah, I think we could say a little bit. Yeah, so it's nice that their name got cleared. They're like, oh, we found the kidnapped princesses. I mean, we found the kidnapped mermaids. But our treasure's gone. But At least we know the Straw Hats are in the clear. They didn't do this. Yeah, that means Caribou is still large. And do you guys know what the dance of Breams and Plaices is?
No idea.
I looked it up. At first, I thought it was a play on words, but then I looked it up, and Breams and Places I believe, are both types of fish.
Yeah.
Because at a quick glance, you read it Dreams and Places, and I was like, oh, maybe it's like a play on words, but it's not. I think it's a type of fish.
All right. Do you guys have anything else on this one?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we'll move on. Decks of the World, Volume 33. Long Ring, Long Land. Tanji meets his grandchildren. Tanji was able to reunite with his family.
Oh yeah, this place. Pretty cute.
How long has it been? 10 years for him?
Yeah.
His grandkids, man. And he's still eating the fucking cheese.
I just noticed that too.
Bro, same. Buddy. You need standards. Hey,
Yeah,
the doctor.
it's still good. It's still good.
This guy.
Yeah, but this is really heartwarming. I'm glad to see he was able to reunite, because like we left him in the place where he's like, now I can go back and see my family. But now we are actually seeing the result. He's been able to spend time with them. They seem to like him, and Sherry as well. All right, I'll get into the chapter. Chapter 650, 2 changes to be aware of. Neptune confirms Robin's suspicions, warning that if this information got into the wrong hands, it could throw the world into chaos. Unfortunately, Caribou was still lurking nearby and eavesdropped on the conversation. Back at the feast, Jinbei is surprised by Luffy's lack of awareness of what is happening in the world and fills him in on some important changes. He explains that Sengoku stepped down as Fleet Admiral following the Paramount War and named Aokiji as his successor. However, the world government wanted to install Akainu into the position. The two admirals had a very public fight on an island in the New World. After several days, Akainu emerged victorious. After this, Aokiji quit the Navy. Under Akainu's magma fist, the Navy has cracked down. The other major change is that Blackbeard has claimed Whitebeard's territory and has been collecting powerful Deborah fruits for his crew, leading to him becoming one of the 4 emperors. Luffy doesn't seem too concerned and is more interested in the party and finding Shirahoshi. Luffy notices something is off and takes Zoro and Sanji with him. They find Shirahoshi in the shell tower being attacked by Caribou. Luffy kicks him away, saving the princess. The Minister of the Right arrives and thanks the Straw Hats once again. They determine that Caribou was the one who kidnapped the mermaids and stole the treasure. When Nami hears this, she orders Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji to go retrieve the treasure, which the king will allow them to keep as thanks for saving the kingdom. One of the prison guards arrives in a panic, shouting that Hody and his men have escaped. When Neptune, the princess, and Jinbei go to the cell, they find Hody and his men have aged dramatically and are no longer a threat and easily lock them back up. Meanwhile, one of the royal soldiers reports to the Minister of the Left that Peckham's and Baron Tamago, Big Mom's agents, are here to collect their shipment of sweets. Unfortunately, Hody's men ransacked and destroyed the sweets factory, and they gave all the remaining sweets to the Straw Hats during the party, so they will not be able to meet the demand for this month. Okay, so quite a bit to unpack here.
Yeah. Is this the first mention of Uranus as one of the 3 ancient weapons? Like you said, we'd heard of Pluton, the ship, Poseidon, the mermaid who can communicate with the Neptunians, but now a mention of Uranus, the 3rd ancient weapon.
Yeah, I think it's our first mention.
Pretty exciting. Nothing off the top of the head, but
okay. We love our conspiracy theory, Evan. I'm just
yeah, nothing yet.
All right.
We've gotten nothing on it, I believe. Other than its name, I don't think we have any leads. At least from my perspective.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the One Piece wiki, and I think this is saying it's the first time that it was referenced. So yeah, I'm not sure when Robin learned this information about the ancient weapon Uranus, but yeah, because Pluton was the one that we found out about in Alabasta.
Which Robin had known about for some time, so presumably she could have learned about Uranus as far back as then, if not further.
Yeah, something that she could have learned even from like O'Hara.
Yes, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty bad that Caribou was being a creep and lurking around, hearing this information, so he's aware as well.
Yep. Good thing Luffy is kind of like just I don't know. It seems like it just came to him. He's like something's off, and just kind of goes and saves the day.
Yeah, my impression was his observation hockey is picking up on something. 'Cause I think he asked if there was
Yeah,
like a beast or something. Like he sensed something like in the
something
palace or
awry.
something. So yeah, he had some kind of thing
Ooh.
that set off his spidey senses.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we
then
do got.
I think uh it's either Zoro or Sanji. It seems like they also pick up on something. So because like Luffy's like, hey, are there any wild beasts in the castle? And we see, good point. There's definitely something. So it seems like they also recognize something's going on. At least that's my read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of these major changes that are happening?
Quite interesting. Some major shakeups at HQ. It sounds like Aokiji is now a free agent, which doesn't completely surprise me. I feel like Aokiji, of all of the like Navy admirals, I feel like always seemed not fully aligned with the Navy and or like not fully motivated to follow their like orders. So I think that could be a very interesting development if Aokiji is a free agent because I could see him pursuing his own belief in justice, and that might not necessarily align with the Navy.
I think this feels like a very natural evolution of where those two were when it came to O'Hara.
Yeah,
And I think it's like you said, it's so interesting to me that this is kind of just a lot. There's like a fault line, right? It's like, oh, the actual rank and file Marines under Akiji, they support him. The government wants Akainu. And so
Yeah.
seeing, and I feel like we don't really get that. We haven't really gotten a division like that yet.
yeah,
So it's so we're so this whole institution of the Marines and the government, we're starting to say, okay, here's where those two might diverge a little more. And so that excites me.
this is true.
Yeah, because before the time skip, we did see Sengoku was like, I want Aokiji to take place as the fleet admiral because he stepped down at that time. We saw that happen, but we didn't see what happened after that. So now we're seeing that Aokiji actually lost that battle, and Akainu was the one that emerged victorious. So I think it does indicate that maybe the Navy and the world government will be more aligned than they would have been under Aokiji. So like kind of like what Cody was saying, like before, like Sengoku he had more of like a conscious, maybe like he wanted to handle the Navy in a certain way, whereas Akainu was more. We always knew like he was more unforgiving and very like strict, and now we're seeing that's the way he also wants to handle the Navy. I think he's going to be pretty much like doing whatever the five elders say to do. Like he will obey those commands and he'll be in complete alignment with them, no matter what that is.
Yeah,
So
no
that's
matter
kind of
the cost.
scary. Yeah.
And like literally going to what I love the way Evan put it, as Aokiji going after his own form of justice. But Joel, you brought it up as, oh, Akainu is following the justice from the people above him. To me, I'm like, that's a really nice, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Otis set this up nice because I do think Aokiji separating like isn't totally shocking news. It's not like I'm not totally shocked by that. I feel like
Yeah.
Otis kind of thrown in. There's been hints in the past.
Yeah. The fact that he was willing to step down as opposed to serve under Akainu, he's like, I don't want to serve under you. Like that. I think that's how far like they were apart on like their worldviews. We've seen
Mm,
them like literally have like opposing views in the past. It's just gotten to a point where it's like, all right, I'm not serving under you. Like this is where I draw the line. Like I've seen like what a monster you can be. Yeah, and then like, if Aokiji had been the fleet admiral from experience, he probably would have been more lenient because we did see like he did kind of let the Stratus and Robin off the hook, in the past a few times. So we
Yeah.
see that he probably would have had more compassion, and he probably would have, I think he would have been more closely aligned to Sengoku, but I think he still would have done his job. But I think he might have also not been as hard on like the pirates, like as Akina will be like relentless, which it seems to be the case. Like he's made changes here where Jinbei says that Akina has been coming down on the pirates even more so than the past.
Yeah.
Have we seen any effects of that?
I don't think so. Not this stage.
Okay.
It's really cool how all these different themes are kind of intermixing here and building upon each other. Like we've been talking about the government's hold over the Navy for a long time and how it influences the admirals. I don't, and it like leaders versus followers. We've had that conversation, and now we're having the conversation of this of generational beliefs and not blindly following, but like forming your own opinion and following what you believe in as like the common thread through all of these different themes. It's really cool getting that perspective and now applying that to all the situations that we're now reading. I guess that happens with like naturally in any kind of like plot development, like as you bring up these themes and give us a lens in which to continue reading, it's so cool. I mean, we're also seeing Blackbeard here rise into power.
Yes.
So we're like seeing some major power shifts. And we know Blackbeard, like this isn't a new character, so we do have a lot of context for this. It's pretty wild out there.
Cody, do you have anything to add to that?
On Akina Kiji, no. On Blackbeard, I'd have to think for a second, actually.
Okay.
So this is just that's bad news bears, no matter how you cut it. It's just not great. I don't know why. It's nothing good can come of it.
He's had a very quick rise to power and hasn't met a ton of resistance. Like I feel like he's kind of getting his way and getting where he wants to go very quickly, which can be scary.
Yeah.
But after biding so much time.
Yeah.
So much time with Whitebeard. But right now he is just all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's exponentially growing.
Yeah, so he waited for the right time to make his moves. So it's all very calculated, and everything he's done has pretty much been in service of this rise. So he planned it out in a way that he was able to capitalize on these situations, and that's why he was able to get to this position. So the whole thing was, I wanted that specific devil fruit, and once he got his hands on that devil fruit, he was able to put himself in this position where he had enough power to do this. So working with Whitebeard for all that time also plays out in his favor here too, because he knew Whitebeard's territory. He's familiar with it as somebody who's a former member of his crew. And then we saw that he worked his way up the chain, gained the trust of the government, became one of the 7 warlords. That gave him access to Impel Down, to get new members of the crew, and then to also make his move at Marineford, take Whitebeard's power, and then like at this stage, we see kind of like the end result where he was now able to take Whitebeard's place in the world as one of the 4 most powerful pirates. And he's not stopping there because he's still actively working with his crew to obtain powerful devil fruits. So his goal is to make this kind of like super crew with these powers that are going to be hard to deal with. So it's not going to be just him that's hard to deal with. It's going to be his entire crew.
And we know his intent is to be king of the pirates.
Presumably.
I forget when he and Luffy first spoke before they knew who each other was, respectively.
Like in Lockdown, you mean?
Did they? Yeah, in Lockdown. Did he mention that he
Jaya.
also wanted to be, or Jaya? Did he mention that he
Sorry, I
wanted
said
to be?
Mocktown and Jaya. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Mocktown. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's on him. I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
Okay.
I think he just said a man's dreams never die.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was playing his cards pretty close to his chest.
Yeah, I don't know if he hasn't really set his end goal, other than power, seemingly.
Well, I'm trying to remember what he said in Marineford. He said, "This is my age."
Yeah.
But does that entail being king of the pirates?
Mhm.
And I'm trying to remember, honestly.
Yeah, because I feel like that was something he and Luffy had in common or something when they were eating meat together and like had a lot of similar characteristics.
I think when they first met, it was more about Skypiea and the fact that Skypiea existed. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
In that sense. But like Evan, you bring up the really good point of like the fact that Luffy and Blackbeard are such foils to each other, right?
They are such foils to each other, and they both have the same initial.
Yes. And I think what you just mentioned here about how meteoric Blackbeard's rise is, Luffy got pretty far pretty fast too.
Yeah, Luffy has also had a exponential rise, you know.
Yeah. Little blip there for a couple years.
Sure.
But still, he traversed the first half of the Grand Line like what, a couple months?
Yeah.
It was like cool. Yeah.
But it's interesting because that feels like Blackbeard's ascent has been so calculated, where
Right.
Luffy's, in contrast, I think, like he has a clear vision, but I don't think that he planned it going the way it has gone. He's more making decisions in the moment that work best for the crew in that moment, and it's just led him to where he is now. I think that's like the one difference in there.
Yeah.
In their
Like the
plan.
most calculated.
Because they're not the same. They're foils.
Yeah.
They're reflections of each other,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is beautiful. And like you said, Luffy's very in the moment. Blackbeard's calculated. Well, Luffy has to be smart after his. He has to think quick on his feet. The way they approach these decisions is so very similar because like there is calculation, there is intuition. It's just they're like in like this weird inverse order of each other, right?
Yeah, totally.
There was something else, but like it just keeps the parallels between those two characters just go so fucking deep. Oda.
Yeah.
Oda.
Yeah,
And
I think
think.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, to elaborate on the foil, is like Teach's ability is to take from others. Like, not only is that like how he functions as a captain, but it's also like literally his devil fruit power is like taking power from others, quite literally. And he also, I think that's a cool like metaphor that he takes power via devil fruit and also via just his way of leading, of being.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, kind of cool.
It's the good shit.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Joel. What were you saying?
No, that's right. I was just gonna make a comment. Like the most calculated that Luffy's been was when Rayleigh suggested you take 2 years off the train. And
yeah.
So I mean, like, in a way, like, Luffy did kind of like take some time to make a smart decision and be like, "Hey, how about we just bide our time, get ourselves in a better position, and now we can continue the journey."
Yeah,
so that was like the most patient
number
he's
of
been.
meals.
But even then, that was more him just agreeing with Rayleigh's plan.
Yeah.
So not so much.
It wasn't his idea.
Just calculating his. Yeah.
Speaking of calculating, it looks like Fishman Island miscalculated when it came to the sweets here at the factory when they chose to give the remaining sweets over to the Strats as part of the party when Big Mom was expecting those treats.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we did see here that Hodie's crew had destroyed the factory and the process. I think it was Daruma. I think specifically actually like went up and down like the factory and like destroyed like part of the building or whatever. But it seemed like it was also collateral damage. Yeah. So they are not able to produce any sweets at this time. But now it seems that Big Mom had sent this character Peckham's and this other character Baron Tamago to try to collect the sweets. But it seems like they didn't actually send notice like, "Hey, sorry, we can't actually make the payment this month." And then how about uh, Hodie's crew?
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Just the drawing of them aged is so good.
Yeah. So they are now experiencing the extreme effects of the anti-steroid pills, and they have dramatically aged to the point where they are very wrinkly and having a hard time moving.
Yep, these are the
Great shortcut.
consequences.
It don't work like that.
So like if things had like gone like Hodie's way, like let's say like he wanted to like destroy Fishman Island, his goal is to now like go to like the surface. Like what was he gonna do at this point, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna take him seriously. He's not gonna be able to like take on Marijoa. Like so yeah, he's finding out the hard way that maybe this wasn't the best plan.
That's what you get. Price you
Mhm.
pay.
My question is, where's Vanderdecken?
I thought I saw him. Oh, you're right. No, you're right. In the other panel, we saw him.
Oh.
He
Did
didn't
he
take him.
say the prison cell, or did he escape when Hodie's crew got out?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe we'll
see
find
him.
out someday. All right, are you guys good to move on?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's finish up the episode with chapter 651, A Voice from the New World. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji found a knocked out caribou with treasure scattered around. As the minister of the left tries to reason with Peckhams outside the factory that they will not be able to meet their demands for the sweets due to the circumstances, Luffy and company approach. When Luffy sees the factory, he exclaims how good the sweets were. When Peckhams hears Luffy ate the sweets, yet there is none left to deliver to Big Mom, he gets upset. Baron Tamago convinces him to calm down and tries to reach a peaceful solution. He breaks it down that Fishman Island is allowed to display Big Mom's flag as protection in exchange for 10 tons of sweets each month. Meanwhile, on Whole Cake Island, Big Mom's mouth waters as she looks forward to eating the sweets from Fishman Island. Bobbin returns from his task of punishing a country that failed to deliver their promised sweets by burning it. He also reports that Peckhams notified him that it seems that Fishman Island also won't be able to meet their demand. She becomes furious, demands a call to get Peckhams on the line immediately. Back on Fishman Island, Baron Tamago gives Fishman Island one more day to get the sweets, but they make it clear that they would need several days just to fix the machine, and then another 2 weeks to produce the sweets. He says this will not do. He declares that their contract is void and Fishman Island will be brought to ruins. As the transponder snail begins to ring, both Peckhams and Tamago are afraid to answer the call to speak with Big Mom. Luffy is not afraid, picking it up and introduces himself as Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will be the king of the pirates. She recognizes his name as Garp's grandson, the upstart who fought during the war. Luffy shouts that there will be no sweets because he ate them all. Luffy offers to give the treasure that they just obtained in exchange, but Big Mom can't eat treasure, so she's not interested. Tamago realizes how much treasure is in the bags and suggests that they take the treasure and wait 2 weeks for the treats, but Big Mom is not willing to compromise on what she wants. However, Big Mom is intrigued by Luffy and says she will redirect her anger from Fishman Island to Luffy himself, challenging him to come to the New World if he dares. Not only is Luffy not intimidated, but he declares he will come for Big Mom and take over Fishman Island as his own territory.
Let's go. Challenge accepted.
All right, thoughts on this one?
I just want to start by saying this cover page is amazing. With
Yes.
all the straw
Oh,
hats with
yeah.
the animals that Oda has assigned them in their costumes.
Yeah.
I had to make mention of that.
Yeah.
Chopper without a hat.
Chopper without a hat.
I don't
Our
think we've
boy.
seen Chopper without a hat. Oh, nice.
Only like I think once or twice briefly.
I think maybe like in his flashback.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants it back. He wants it back so bad. Oh man. Oh.
Is that a
Yeah, this is
tanuki?
fun.
Yeah. No, it's a reindeer.
Although
Nice.
it's weird that he also has the antlers that they're the same as Chopper's antlers.
This is true.
Oda needs to explain himself. What?
Well, it's funny because we've seen like joke panels where Chopper's hat is flying off and the antlers are attached to the hat.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I think maybe we do need some explanation.
or maybe that's the explanation.
Maybe that is the explanation.
It was a joke.
It's all a joke. It's all a big joke. The One Piece is a joke.
Gotcha.
But what's not a joke is Big Mom is mad that she is not getting her treats. Just like my cat. When I don't give her the treats fast enough, she starts yelling at me.
No,
Luna's
and
not going
she
to
is
burn
a
your house down, though.
That's true. She's a little bit more civil. Yeah, so we get a look at some of the Big Mom pirates, and we get a glimpse of Big Mom herself.
Yeah, only a silhouette until now. Still shrouded in shadow a bit, but
Yeah.
very intimidating nonetheless. Like living up to the name for sure.
She's a little big.
She's yes.
She's a large mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, very intimidating. I do have a prediction, and there's no grounds for this at all.
Go for it.
But
It's the best.
we do see in the same room as Big Mom, there's a seemingly younger woman with 3 eyes who's not introduced or named in any way, but shown a few times. Also sitting on a throne, like we see Big Mama sitting on a throne that looks similar. And I think there's a connection between these two. And I don't know what it is. But the third eye makes me think of like foresight or like maybe some sort of control. Like maybe Big Mom is being controlled by this person in some way, or I don't know. I think there's a connection between the two. Not like I don't know if it's not like I don't know how to
Kind of
explain it.
like a Wizard of Oz type thing.
Yeah, I think she's kind of like the brains behind Big Mom and is somehow controlling her with the third eye, or
Interesting.
can like, or there's some sort of like connection between the two. Because I find it interesting. She's clearly like an important character, but she got zero introduction.
Zero
And
dialogue.
she's zero dialogue, zero introduction, no nameplate, and also is in a throne that looks almost identical to the throne that Big Mom is sitting in. There's definitely, I definitely predict there's some sort of connection there. I think maybe she might be the mastermind behind or controlling Big Mom in some way.
Yeah, interesting.
Although maybe Big Mom also has a third eye that we just haven't seen yet.
Well, also though, we've only seen 2 of her eyes. This girl here, because she's only had 2 eyes open at the time. So
This is true. This is true.
But it does
She's
seem like
like that
she
too.
possibly does have a third eye.
No, I'm excited to learn more about Big Mom and Co.
Yeah. So we get like a little glimpse of Whole Cake Island, which is her territory. So that's cool. We see like, it looks like big
Whole
cakes and
Cake
stuff.
Island.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the first thing we really see for Big Mom is like she's just thinking about like having like a tea party and eating like snacks and stuff. And then we see like these like a little voice kind of like doing like a little sing song thing. And then she seems to be talking to somebody. So and then as she's talking, it looks like she's eating the person that she's talking to. Did you pick up on that, Evan?
I'm trying to find where you're at.
So it's the first page where it says like Whole Cake Island on the top. So she's talking about like, oh, like I'm excited for like those delectable treats from Fishman Island. My stomach acid is overflowing just thinking about them. And there's like a little voice that's like sing-songy, like, oh boy, treats from Fishman Island. And then she says, "Are you as eager as I, my sweets?" And they say, "Of course we are. They're the best." And then she says, "Then you can wait for them. You can wait for the party inside my belly." And like, huh? Wait, Mama, no, don't do it. Ah, jump. So it seems like she might be eating somebody.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So is she like a cannibal or something?
Maybe. Clearly an obsession with eating.
Yeah. Then we see what happens with other countries that can't meet their demands. They basically destroy it. So it's like if you can't fulfill your promise, we'll just take you out. Kind of no second chances here. So yeah, then we're also introduced to this character Peckham's. He's from the Big Mom Pirates. He's this like lion.
Nice suit.
Yeah, I like his little introduction here. I like his design first of all. I think he's actually kind of cute, and then I do think that it's funny how the other characters think he's cute. So like when he takes his sunglasses off, we see he has little tiny eyes. So even though he's yelling, everybody's like, "Oh, he's kind of cute when he's mad."
Yeah, a lion who can't be taken seriously.
And then Luffy, of course, with his big mouth, like he's like, "Oh yeah, like I totally ate all those candies. They were amazing.
Yeah,
I'm so glad
right.
I got them."
Oblivious.
And how about this Baron Tamago?
He gets a cool intro panel. I'll give him that. And I'm pretty sure tamago means egg in Japanese. I could be wrong.
It does.
It does.
But yeah, he's got this. He looks like he's in a half shell, kind of here.
Yeah. An egg.
An egg.
His hat's a
Yep.
teacup.
With the long,
Oh yeah.
skinny legs. Yeah, his hat's a teacup. Yeah, this guy's got some cool character design.
He's a long leg.
Yep.
And we also get the egg pun. A very bonjour to you, half-boiled pirates. He's kind of got like this classy, like kind of French, like part French.
The French is
ways
very
looking.
strange to me, I will say, because when I read this, it was just like fan translation. There was just no idea of a region at all. So this is a new layer. It's something that I feel like there's some other time. It's Ils sont remerciés morts. Je m'appelle Baron Negman. Tamago, I'm sorry, hey then. Hey, Fishman. No, I lost it.
I like his character design a lot.
He's weird, man. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of like a Miyazaki character.
Yeah. I'd buy that. He is a bit reminiscent of the Boiler Room from Spirited Away. The Boiler Room
That's what I was thinking too.
Director guy, yeah. With the outrageous mustache and the long limbs.
The long limbs, yep. Yeah, so he seems like he's trying to be a little bit more reasonable, like more level-headed, but he also like realizes like the gravity and the reality of the situation. Yeah, so he tries to like calm things down a little bit. But then when Big Mom calls and gets the word out, it's like, all right, well now they don't want to take this phone call. Like they're afraid of like what's gonna happen. Luffy, I love this moment where Luffy he decides to just pick up the phone himself, and then he's not afraid of Big Mom. He just shouts at her and says like I hate them, like I'm gonna be king of the pirates. Yeah, he's gotta say that. He's like, I'm gonna kick your butt. How do you like that?
So good. Classic Luffy.
But it seems that Luffy isn't the only supernova that had gotten on Big Mom's radar, because we also find out from Baron Tamago that kid has been making moves and taking out some of Big Mom's ships. Because Tamago was like, hey, maybe we should take this treasure. We could actually use this money to kind of help rebuild some of our lost forces. So maybe this won't be the worst thing.
But she says, no!
Yeah, Big Mom not listening to any...
No! She's very
not listening to her. Yeah, that's true. Not listening to a voice of reason.
But I do kind of like her reasoning. I'm sorry, go ahead, Cody.
What?
I was going to say, I kind of like her reasoning for not being reasonable. Is that it's like, oh, I'm an emperor. like I'm not going to compromise on what I want. Like I have the power. Like I'm going to use that power to get what I want. It's like, oh,
Right.
I'm not gonna play nice and be like, oh, yeah, you can walk over me. That's fine. She's like, no, I'm calling the shots. I'm the one in control. But go ahead, Cody.
No, it was some stupid joke. I don't even remember this one.
As one conflict resolves, Luffy immediately dives into a new conflict. I love this.
Yeah. He's saying Fishman Island is his territory now.
Yeah, this is the kind of like the first real. This would be the first time we see Luffy's flag, hanging up as a territory.
That's a direct challenge.
Yeah,
That's a direct meet me out back.
yeah. Winner takes all.
Yep.
And this is an emperor too. This isn't just like
It's to an emperor.
anybody.
Yeah. He says, I don't care. I'm not even in the New World yet. I do not care. Try me. See what happens. I'm coming. Get out of the way.
He might be in over his head. Yeah, this is a little bit of a rash decision here. But we just talked about how Luffy doesn't really think about it, and he does what he needs to do.
This is again him acting in the now. This is
That's all he does. That's all he does.
All right. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
Nothing in particular. I'm very excited.
Oh, Roger. I get to talk about Roger.
Go off,
What?
Cody.
What? What?
Who's Roger?
That's what I'm asking you.
This is like who's on first? Like what's going on?
It's Ben. It's Ben. Like who's on first? We've been having it in Costello.
All right. So any final thoughts?
I'm super excited to learn more about Big Mom. She's still very mysterious and a big player in this world. So I'm excited to get to know what her deal is.
Yeah, we got a little taste of what Big Mom has to offer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Just
Or a
sweet
big
little
taste.
taste.
How about you, Cody?
I don't know this because, like I was saying, I read volumes with him one night. It's been kind of a whirlwind. We're going to the new world, man. We're going to the new world. That's just come on. That's what I got. I'm so hyped to see. I'm so hyped for them to get out there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like we're supposed to go to Fishman Island, several arcs ago.
Don't do this to me. Don't play with me like that. That's Otis' job.
So we are very close to wrapping up Fishman Island. So next episode we will be concluding the arc and we'll be doing the rankings. But I do all said and done. Fishman Island I think has actually been really fun. So we'll get everybody's opinions on it next week. But there's been a lot of like really enjoyable moments and really hype moments. And this volume in particular, I think also had a lot of like really big moments that I was really excited to talk about. So we did find out more about the ancient weapons. We found about like the Neptunes being able to converse with Shirahoshi and Luffy able to hear those voices. We find out about the shift with the management in the Navy. So now Akainu is taken over. We find out that Blackbeard is now an emperor. Luffy is now declaring war on another emperor. So there's been like so much has already happened just in these past few chapters, and there's been a lot of exciting things have developed, and we're starting to kind of fill in some of the gaps of like what happened the last 2 years. So we're at a place where the Straw Hats were taken out of the picture, and now they're playing catch up. So I'm excited to see as more of that gets filled out, we can kind of see how the world has changed and what new things we're going to be seeing going forward. But overall, So far, things have been really fun. Going into the adventure after the time skip and seeing where the Straw Hats currently are. We saw a really great display of their power, and we'll see how things go moving forward.
Very exciting. I'm
For
excited
sure.
to see their powers in tandem. We've seen all of their finishing moves. Now I'm excited to see how they combo off each other and fight together.
Yeah, so there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah.
But for now, that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this episode wherever podcasts are found at We Reading One Piece Podcast at buzzsprout.com or on the YouTube channel at We Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel up to where we have recorded the podcast, so if you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Pirate King Codex for more One Piece content. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at werereadingonepiece@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from listeners, so if you're enjoying the show, or if you have any suggestions on how we can make it better, let us know. Next episode, we'll be finishing Volume 66, The Road Toward the Sun. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Evan.
Thanks for listening.
And Cody.
I didn't get to talk about Roger.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. It's fine.
All right. Well, be sure to bring on all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.